principal's own mouth, said that you could co-own collectibles, but that wasn't true, and you had no ownership or control. And it's this false advertising and the misleading statements that are partially responsible for the Ontario Securities Commission bringing proceedings against LMP and several of its principals in July of 2024. The complaint by the OSC lists a bunch of issues that we will get around to, but we will just stick to this ownership issue for now. The OSC complaint states that LMP, Bahadori, and Nixdel have perpetrated a fraud on its investors. Approximately $2.7 million had been obtained by LMP from the sale of LMP tokens to LMP token purchasers. LMP, Bahadori, and Nixdel made false and misleading statements to token purchasers, including that LMP tokens represent legal ownership in underlying collectibles. So this false advertising is a big deal, and such a big deal that the OSC outright calls it fraud. But here is where the alleged fraud gets really interesting, because notice that number, $2.7 million. The OSC is saying that by the time they filed this action in June 2024, LMP had only taken in $2.7 million from the sale of tokens. This doesn't make sense. When Logan Paul offered 51% of his PSA 10 Illustrator on LMP, it was valued at $5 million. So the total amount of tokens available for purchase was $2.55 million, which apparently sold out. And that was just one card. LMP listed many other collectibles as well. For example, a PSA 8 PiCube Illustrator with a total value of $1.1 million, which also apparently sold out. We know it was supposed to have sold out because it was trading on the marketplace, which only happens once all of the initial offering is sold. This mechanic was made crystal clear by LMP employee Avid on their subreddit. So already, with just these two cards alone, that's $3.6 million, more than what the company took in total for its entire existence. And you can see on the marketplace, there were a bunch of other expensive items as well. How is this possible? It doesn't seem to make any sense. Well, the truth is that it isn't possible. And the reason this discrepancy exists is because, according to the OSC, LMP was lying about their collectibles being sold out. The complaint states, LMP represented to actual and prospective token purchasers that LMP tokens represent legal fractional ownership of the underlying collectibles, including that LMP tokens are offered for pre-order on an initial drop, and only once all tokens for a collectible are fully sold on the initial drop does the collectible move to the marketplace, where token purchasers can trade their fractional ownership with other LMP platform users. Contrary to these representations, LMP moved collectibles to the marketplace that had not sold out on the initial drop, and deposited the unsold LMP tokens into LMP platform accounts that were owned or controlled by the LMP principals or their affiliates. In a nutshell, LMP lied to the public by telling them that all of the tokens had been